Let's bring it back home now. The South African men's hockey team booked their spot at the Paris Olympics next year, winning their continental qualifying tournament decider. The men's team aced Egypt 2-1 in a nail-biter that was settled only in the final quarter as Ryan Julius scored after a great through pass by Mustafa Kasim with 9 minutes remaining. Now joining us in studio live is the SA men's assistant coach, Sihle Ntuli. Sihle, good afternoon and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good afternoon, Level. Thanks for having me on a Saturday afternoon.
It's really great to be speaking to an Olympic qualifier coach, assistant coach this afternoon. What a dramatic way you guys had to go through to Paris. That 2-1 win didn't come as easy as it rolls from my tongue, of course.
It's never easy, and it's been an unbelievable week we've had. But yeah, it's never easy playing against our African opponents, and especially our finalist Egypt. Made it a difficult game. I must really thank the crowd for coming through in Pretoria and supporting the boys. We had some terrible weather last week, and
Sure.
And the crowd still came through and supported the boys and ladies, and very grateful for that support.
All right, obviously the women's team has also qualified, but you playing Egypt, you've played them in every single African final in this millennium, and they also ranked in the top 20. How important was it for you as the South African men's team going into this match mentally, especially facing the fact that you had not played any international games the entire year?
Yeah, Lebo, that's, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. That's the most difficult part. And I always say this, and I'm so grateful I get to say it publicly. All the credit goes to the players. We have not been together since January as a squad. So if you think about it, that's close to 9-10 months now. We've been apart. We haven't had any training camps. Any contact time as a squad. Our players have just been training and playing with their different clubs. So for us to come together exactly a week before this tournament, and the amount of work that needed to be done in a space of 4 or 5 days, like I said, I must give the credit to the players for taking on board all the work that we try to squeeze in. We try to keep it very simple, you know, and not make up for lost time. So we always knew it's always difficult against Egypt, as you mentioned already. Last year, we played them in the final again in Ghana, neutral ground. Yeah. They took us to penalties, and we scraped through there. So we knew, 18 months later, they were going to come out and try and prove a point.
Sihle, it's almost unfair for us to come, and we're excited about your qualifying for the Olympic Games. Yet, as a national team, a national asset, wearing green and gold, you haven't had any games the entire year. And now let's take it back to those that are watching and listening for the very first time. The reasons for that as well, because you had qualified by your own strength and quality for the Pro League. But things changed in January, February. You guys were taken out of the Pro League, and this was your only effort as the men's team to be able to play against some of the best teams in the world.
That was a massive disappointment for the squad as a whole, players and management included. The boys, once again, you'll probably continuously hear me say how proud I am of them, because as a group we qualified for Pro League, which is the top international league, where we play the top 8 nations. And our aim as a team is to always try and get into the top 10. For the last decade, we've sat between 10 and 15 in world rankings. So the objective is to knock into that top 10 and get in there. So for us to qualify as a team, and then a couple of weeks later find out that we're not going to play that tournament, was a massive sad moment, not just for the team but for SA hockey in general. You know, we take a lot of pride and excitement from our other national codes. You know, if we look at the rugby over the last couple of weeks and what they've done for the country, for us, maybe we don't influence 60 million people yet, but for the thousands that we do impact school kids and so on, you know, for us to not have this opportunity to play is a massive loss for SA hockey. We don't get the competition to play against nations that are ranked higher than us. And as we go into these major tournaments, your Olympics and future the World Cups, it's games that you want to play.
Then give me the impact on the players, having been told that you're no longer going to be part of the Pro League. Obviously, Ireland then stepped in. then you're not playing for the rest of the year, but then all of a sudden you have to be ready to play an Olympic qualifier on the continent. The impact mentally, what does this do as a coach? Where do you start motivating the players? How do they continue momentum? They still work in 9 to 5s. Everybody's got a career. Never mind the fact that they're professional athletes.
Yeah, it's very difficult, Lebo. And I think if COVID taught us anything, is to make things work. And I must give credit to the full group for the amount of contact we still maintained over these last 9-10 months, whilst we weren't able to get together physically. We've spent a lot of time, on Zoom calls and so on, still trying to engage and interact and keep the players focused on what the goal is. Qualifying for Paris has been and always is the objective, qualifying for the Olympics. And as you've mentioned already, it's not an easy route. And not just Egypt gave us a difficult time, but our other fellow nations, the Ghanas, Nigerias.
I thought you won 7-0 against Ghana.
But the scoreline suggests something else.
Yeah.
It's never that simple. Those boys do make it very difficult for us. They come here, for them, the highlight of their season is African qualifiers. Sure. And so for them, it's about upsetting South Africa, the favourites always. So it's never as simple as the scoreline suggests. But yeah, like I said, how did we keep in contact and engaged with the players over the period? It's been a lot of meetings, a lot of online meetings, and just trying to stay engaged over that dead time.
Let's now talk about the real stuff. The crux of the matter is you've qualified for the Olympic Games. The crowdfunding that we saw previously cannot be heard. We cannot be seeing you guys training on social media, having interviews where you're crowdfunding for your badge, to be a Proteas player. What is the funding situation like? The sponsors, are they there? You've qualified. Surely someone must be doing something behind the doors to say, let's make sure that these guys are well prepared financially for the Olympics.
Yeah, Lebo, that's a very touchy topic. I must be honest. I've had a smile on my face chatting to you for the last 10, 15 minutes, and obviously that makes me a bit sad, unfortunately, because these players do so much. A lot of them are working, like you said, 9 to 5 jobs, and if not working, they're studying, students. And so for them, in the small minutes or downtime that they get, for them to be actively out there looking for sponsors and on social media, like you say, is actually a massive distraction to their focus. And again, I keep going back to it. That's why I give all the credit to the players, because what we see on the field is them putting their hearts on the line for the country and really not making excuses for the lack of support that we get. But the lack of support is something that we know we need to go out there and actually perform before we get people to look at us and back us. And we do believe we've done that.
What do we do then? As the media, what can we do? Because there's no way that we'd be happy with the Springboks going out there looking for funding. And then we want them to represent us on the playing field with their hearts and their sweat and their tears. What do we do as the media? Yeah,
Lebo, even afternoons like this, we really appreciate this. As the media, we can only hope and ask for you guys to just invite us to these types of chats so we can share our story with the country. That's one thing we love doing, is we've got a very passionate group of boys, a passionate group of management, and we just need a platform like this afternoon now where we can share what we do, who we are, and why this thing means so much to us. Like I said to you earlier, we're very realistic in our scope and who we are compared to our fellow other codes, the cricket, the football and the rugby boys. We know we don't reach out to as big a audience as they do, but to us it's still important. If it's 5 or 10,000 people that get more hope or inspired by what we do, then we really appreciate that, and we feel like we've made a slight difference. What is the goal now? 5 appearances at an Olympic, 10th best finish, 2020, we're going to 2024 Paris. What are you guys saying, guys, this is our next goal now, objective of this mission is? Yeah, I think there's a number of things that really excites me and the rest of the coaching staff about this upcoming Olympics. The continuity. We since Tokyo 2020, we've had a large base of the players stay on board. Yes, we've lost 2 or 3 maybe that have retired since then. So the continuity of players who've actually experienced this level of competition in the last 3-4 years is exciting. Like I said to you just now, we're very realistic about our objectives. And with the lack of contact time and competition, unfortunately, that we face or don't face in this case, you know, as I said earlier, we sit just outside the top 10 of world rankings. So our aim is not to be delusional and expect medals immediately, but it's to go out there and compete and challenge those top nations. And if we look back to the last Olympic Games, we did exactly that.
Absolutely.
Beating the current world champions, Germany, you know, taking the most professional country, the Netherlands, to the wire, only losing narrowly to them. So we know we have it in us. It's just a matter of being consistent in these performances. So yes, for us, it's to go out there and really compete. And what does that look like? If that's a positive result in our favor, then we'll take it. But yeah, that's really our objective for the immediate foreseeable future.
All right, Sihle, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, painting a clearer picture of what is expected of you as the national team, but most importantly, what is expected of us as the nation to back you up and make sure that you're not going crazy over crowdfunding, all sorts of crowdfunding tactics come the Olympic Games.
Lebo, thank you so much. Appreciate it, and please keep supporting these players.
Always.